I'm Adam and this is Reel Rivalries, the show where we pit two movies head to head and let you decide the winner. Two iconic video game characters star in some really polished films as Sonic the Hedgehog goes up against Detective Pikachu. The rounds this week are characters, story, worlds, and assembly. Let's get started with the characters. James Marsden. Obviously best known for voicing Diggs in Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore, plays Tom Wachowski in Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a small-town sheriff looking to do something more meaningful in law enforcement. Saving the Blue Blur, voiced by comedian Ben Schwartz, might just be the ticket he's looking for. Schwartz does a good job capturing the cool and often silly antics Sonic partakes in. The antagonist of the picture, Dr. Robotnik, aka Eggman, is played here by Jim Carrey. And we're talking full-blown Jim Carrey at that. Voice changes, crazy facial expressions, and cartoon mannerisms are all on display. I'm a big fan of the actor, so this is a welcome return to form for me. One I never imagined seeing in a Sonic film. There are a few other supporting actors such as Tom's wife Maddie and Dr. Ivo Robotnik's right-hand man Agent Stone. But with two already larger-than-life characters in the picture, less is more. Detective Pikachu keeps the focus on just a few individuals as well, but the number of Pokemon that show up is very impressive. I believe there's like 54 different types that show up throughout the movie, with Pikachu and Psyduck taking center stage. Ryan Reynolds' voice is the little creature, which honestly never gels for me. Truth be told, I would have much preferred Reynolds play a human character alongside Pikachu for the whole film. The yellow electric mouse could have just said his cute name in a variety of ways, like he does in the TV show, but that's not what we got. Instead, our lead is Tim Goodman, played by Justice Smith. Just like Tom and Sonic, he's a likable enough lead that ultimately doesn't bring much to the table. Really just another human character for our CG protagonist to bounce lines off of. Joining Tim and Pikachu is Lucy Stevens, played by Catherine Newton. She often acts like she's in an entirely different picture, one that's more closely aligned with the cartoon series. Her expressions and range is far more intense than that of her peers. Ken Watanabe adds a bit of class to the film as Lieutenant Hyde Yoshida. The humans are all fine, but the real stars are the wealth of Pokemon that come and go. Mr. Mime, Cubone, Charizard, and Mewtwo were a few of the big standouts for me. Mainly because once we venture off from the original 151 Pokemon, I pretty much check out. I can't keep up with them all. While Detective Pikachu easily wins in terms of showing off video game characters, Sonic isn't without its cameos. We get a tribe of Echidna early on, and there's that Tails cliffhanger to close things out. 54 Pokemon, 1,000 Pokemon. At the end of the day, you're still going up against Jim Carrey, and that's a game you can't win. Sonic gets this round. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Sonic's plot breakdown because I honestly don't know what I was watching in Detective Pikachu. We are first introduced to the Blue Devil on his home planet as a baby hedgehog, living his best life, running fast, and being raised by a giant owl for some reason. Baby Sonic learns the hard way though that with great power comes great confrontation. That's not quite the phrase, but a bag of warp rings and one presumably dead owl later, and Sonic finds himself on Earth in the quaint little town of Green Hill. Years have gone by as our alien hedgehog spies on the locals and constantly plays with himself. I heard how that sounded. Eventually the government catches wind of our hero when Sonic causes a mass power surge in a fit of sadness. If having sudden crying fits led to impressive electrical surges in real life, I would have caused total planetary blackout at this point. Moving on, Sonic and Tom eventually meet up to avoid the government's worst hire, Dr. Robotnik, and to try to retrieve the satchel of rings that went missing. It's a very simple and enjoyable premise that leads to plenty of action, comedy, a little drama, and of course, shilling for Olive Garden.
In the Olive Garden.
Because when you're there,
Your family.
Why? Why is what I kept asking myself when there's a perfectly good fast food chain out there called Sonic. The Blue Blur could have zipped through the drive-thru, ordered a slushie, looked at the camera and winked, been on his merry way, perfectly happy. Olive Garden feels like something that's better suited for, I don't know, Fast and the Furious? You know, because of the family angle? Detective Pikachu starts out simple enough too, but things go off the rails as the film progresses. Off the tails, really. When Harry Goodman goes mysteriously missing, it's up to his son Tim and a unique Pikachu that only he can understand to solve the case. The Pikachu also sounds exactly like his father, but Tim never really catches on to that. which is odd considering Ryan Reynolds has an incredibly distinct voice. They will follow the clues which lead them to interesting scenarios, an illegal Pokemon cage match, Mr. Mime interrogation, and massive ground-swelling torteras. By the time the movie gets into the third act, we find ourselves front row seat watching Detective Pikachu in a fight to the death against man-made Pokemon Mewtwo, who's being controlled by a rich, incredibly misguided businessman. It's at this point we find out that Tim's dad was in the body of Pikachu for this whole adventure, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Except for Tim. Meanwhile, directly below the rooftop battle, people are being turned into Pokemon in the streets of Rhyme City via a gas cloud emitted from giant Poke Floats. It's complete and utter nonsense, with a villain motivation so stupid, I'm not even sure Team Rocket would go for it. Which reminds me, they didn't. They're not even in this movie. While the plot of Sonic isn't something you're going to be writing your film thesis on, it gets the job done. Had I seen James show up from Team Rocket holding a red rose, taking a sniff, we'd be having a different conversation right now. As it stands, Sonic wins. I'm gonna keep this round brief, as I think Detective Pikachu outclasses Sonic in this department pretty handily. While Sega's mascot teases a universe to explore with a couple of planets cropping up, it mainly takes place in a small, uninspired little town. Naming a town after a zone in a video game means absolutely nothing if there's no resemblance. Which in this case there is none. I don't know where they pulled the giant owl out of, but besides some occasional nods to the game, Sonic's movie world as of now could have easily been something in a live action Alvin and the Chipmunks or Smurfs. The rings being magical portals was an interesting concept which I'm sure will come into play more in the sequel. By contrast, Detective Pikachu is fully ensconced in the Pokemon universe. Each creature has personality, no matter how brief their appearance is. They establish Pokemon battling right out of the gates, and there's an entire city dedicated to Pokemon and humans working hand in hand. Blink and you'll miss all the video game nods sprinkled on billboards, this was me sprinkling, posters and TV ads. There are so many stories you could see taking shape that it boggles my mind they started with Detective Pikachu games. I dig the somewhat gritty approach the movie has, and the style could definitely be used in many different genres. A scary film featuring ghost Pokemon like Gengar, or perhaps a rom-com with Mr. Mime and Jinx. Maybe not that. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. This round goes to Detective Pikachu. Sonic the Hedgehog definitely had an impressive comeback story early on. The initial trailers and marketing introduced a very different looking blue blur to the audience. That thing is horrific. The thing had more teeth than a British caricature, but none of the charm. His body looked like that of an Italian bodybuilder, and the music was more out of place in the trailer than me at a sensitivity seminar. Thankfully, the internet did what it does best. Complained. The movie was postponed, the animators were most likely overworked and underpaid, and we'll chalk this whole thing up as a win for all parties involved. Unless the sequel has Knuckles looking like my Uncle Brian, then we'll maybe have something to protest. Oh, I'm sorry, you have no idea who my Uncle Brian is. He's a crack addict. The final product was thankfully a thing of beauty. No longer a werehog, Sonic now looks true to form. Rocking his trademark white gloves and a pair of slick girl shoes a little kid just happened to have lying around the house. Brand new. They're still in the box, as a matter of fact. How convenient. Anyway, part of me wishes the whole film was computer generated, but then we wouldn't get that great Jim Carrey performance. Animation just can't replicate what he does. We don't have the technology. While we didn't get supersonic, I quite enjoyed the Quicksilver-esque slow motion sequences and multiple nods to the games. Beating Robotnik by bouncing off his ship multiple times was perfection. Am I a little disappointed he didn't jump on a yellow trigger, opening a hatch and releasing the little critters inside so they can be free and go along their way? Yeah, I am. But that's what the sequels are for. The blue devil's in the details, as they say, and Detective Pikachu is full of them. This is a stunning film, full of many incredible locales. These range from the neon-infused city of Rhyme to the lush forests of Rhyme. I don't know where the forests are. I think it's still within Rhyme city limits. But I do know this, it's a sight to behold and features my boy Bulbasaur and a series of other fan favorites. The city itself is bustling with Pokemon of all types and sizes, and they all look amazing. The quasi-real take on the characters was something I always wanted to see play out, and the VFX department crushed it out of the stadium. The visuals are easily the best aspect of Detective Pikachu, and I'm pretty bummed out they wasted it on such a mess of a script. Hopefully it's not the last we see of this presentation. As for the music, Sonic gets a great Wreck-It Ralph style animated nostalgia trip through the past games, set to a fun song by Wiz Khalifa and friends. The awesome Green Hill Zone theme makes a brief but welcome appearance as well. Queen's Don't Stop Me Now appropriately fits, and the original theme it's fine. It's serviceable. While Sonic has a fun, upbeat set of songs, Detective Pikachu goes for a more slow, dramatic score. Avicii, Halsey, and Rita Ora can all be heard along with the original compositions from Henry Jackman. When the action ramps up, he provides some great tracks that sound similar to something you would hear in the TV series or games. Good productions all around, but I have to give this to Detective Pikachu. Even though I think these ended up 2-2, you gotta go fast if you want to keep up with Sonic, Pikachu. I'm giving this one to Sonic, based on my own personal preferences. While I appreciate the creative chances Nintendo took with the property, I can't get behind the story and inconsistent tone. Sonic is the winner for me merely for being competent enough. Now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment with your winner, like the video if you had some fun, and I'll see you next time on another Reel Rivalries. And maybe someday in the future we'll get a Sonic the Hedgehog 8, Rise of Big the Cat versus Pokemon Snap, the movie. Only time will tell where these two properties will go. I'm excited for it. Thanks for watching the rivalry. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and comment with your episode winner. If you're a fan of movie debates, feel free to subscribe to ScreenRant for more Reel Rivalries and much, much more.